everybody. I'm your host, Bryce Dolan, and this is the Top Think Tanks Review. And today on the show, we have a story from the New America Foundation. And unfortunately, according to the New America Foundation, Americans have suffered disproportionately bad outcomes compared to other Western hostages in certain situations. Now, according to this report, 90 Western hostages have been murdered since 2001. Americans accounted for around 1 in 5 of all Western hostages taken since 2001, but almost half of those who were murdered. A total of 41 Americans were killed by their captors. Now, while these outcomes are likely due in part to the United States' prominent international role and the target it places on American citizens, the United States' strict adherence to its no concession policy has also contributed to the failure of American efforts to recover hostages. Now, the no concessions policy is defended on the basis that paying ransoms would create incentives for U.S. citizens to be kidnapped, and that ransom payments finance terrorist groups. No clear evidence exists to support the claim that Americans are targeted less often because of the no concessions policy. On the other hand, there is strong evidence to suggest that a no concessions policy puts hostages at greater risk once abducted. And although ransom payments have undoubtedly provided large sums of money to terrorist groups, for a group like ISIS, kidnapping Westerners is only a minor source of revenue. Now, there are ways to deprive these groups of funding that do not cost American lives. In addition, the New American Foundation says the negotiation of ransom payments or other concessions represents an opportunity for Western governments to collect information needed to trace and root out terrorist kidnappers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, according to this report, Americans face the most deadly outcomes when it comes to being kidnapped. And unfortunately, you see countries who pay ransoms for their hostages. You see their hostages get killed a lot less often than American hostages, and even just Western hostages in general. Out of the 32 different countries, Americans out of the Western countries are the most kidnapped and the most killed. Now, like the report says, there's no direct evidence showing that if the ransom was paid, that it would help save these hostages. However, you look at all the other countries that do pay their ransom notes and have a higher number of hostages returned alive. Now, you can make the excuse that the money does fund terrorist organizations, and that's one thing the United States claims, is it doesn't negotiate with terrorists. Well, according to this New America Foundation report, kidnapping and getting the ransom money is only a small source of revenue for terrorist groups. So even though the United States thinks that by not paying ransom, they're not negotiating with terrorists, and in a roundabout way, they're not funding terrorist groups, but in reality, it's really not affecting these terrorist groups much at all. So they're more likely to go get their revenue from somewhere else. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to look into the statistics of this article titled "To Pay Ransom or Not to Pay Ransom," you can check out this article by clicking on the link I provided for you below in the description. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that way you can get notified every time a new video is posted. Give our Facebook pages a like and follow us on Twitter. But that does it for your Top Think Tanks review. I was your host, Bryce Dolan.